A bit of a meltdown on Rocky Top for Tennessee baseball after dropping its fourth straight SEC series and its fifth of their last six. I'm Paige Dower. This is the Field Pass on Full Disclosure. Emotions certainly boiling over after the end of their series against Vanderbilt, and it came after Vandy went to the mound to celebrate the series win, and it's Hunter Ensley walking from third base trying to make his way back to the dugout, but something was going on in those celebrations, and from my vantage point, I can't tell if Vanderbilt instigated anything, but there was certainly something happening that Hunter Ensley did not take kindly. That moment after the game, there were times throughout the series and the last couple of home series that you felt it was only a matter of time that an exchange like that was bound to happen. Certainly a ton of frustration that the Tennessee dugout is certainly feeling, but even the emotions, it was sparked early in Game 3 between Tennessee and Vanderbilt, and it started in the bottom of the first inning when Andrew Fisher knocked back a home run, and he's going and rounding the bases and saying something to every baseman, and as he's rounding from third, he's saying something to the pitcher, and then he gets to the dugout, and he's certainly trying to get the crowd into it. And honestly, who can blame him at that point? And as soon as he makes it to the dugout, he's jetting back to the locker room, gets a quick warning there. And Andrew Fisher is someone we've talked about a number of times on this show when it comes to his ability to support his teammates. And maybe him shouting out to the crowd that this is our house, this is our field, was maybe one of those ways to try and even boost the team morale, not only trying to get Vol fans involved in the game, but that was, really one of the many ways that Tennessee could probably be trying to try something different. So much we've talked about this season is that they're just trying to find a certain formula that gets this team going, and we'll talk a little bit about that and how it correlates to a boombox in the dugout in just a moment. But when you get to what we started the show with, that boiling over of emotions, Tony Vitello says it's just overrated.
Their guys are looking into our dugout, as they high five. But it was a feisty day all along, so are you going to blame them? And then, Hunter Ensley's field out there. So I think he was I don't know who was the first one to say, I don't want to say that, but, if you're on their side, you yell poor loser, and if you're on our side, you yell, don't do that on our field, or you're a poor winner. So it's blown out of proportion.
Now, was it really Vanderbilt that said something first, or was it Hunter Ensley just trying to let off some steam and then his team just followed suit? I don't really know. But what we do know is that this team is trying to do everything imaginable to orchestrate a win, and it can't. You just look at the lineup changes that we saw in Game 3. It's Levi Clark out in left field. It's Chris Newstrom over at right. Dalton Bargo back at third. And it's Blake Grimmer DHing for the team. They are trying to do everything that they can to try and get a win, to try and get better energy out on the field, to not have so many self-inflicted errors, and yet it still looks like it's happening. Although I did really kind of like this formula that we saw early in the game, and it seemed like it could have been a winning recipe. It's just they're not able to hang on to good starts, whether it's hanging on from what they did in Game 1 or just even finding moments within the game and building off of that. Oftentimes they continue to get in their own way.
Got some guys whose wheels have been spinning either on occasion or as we stand here right now, kind of have that going on right now. So whatever we can do to try and help them. Trust me, everybody's trying about everything you can think of.
So Tennessee is making changes to its lineups seemingly every single game, every single series. Oftentimes it's really not the same lineup game to game. And I think one of the other ways that they're trying to orchestrate some confidence, try to orchestrate some wins so they can find the right recipe, I think it can come down to really simple measures. And I think one of them I caught on to in Game 3 against Vanderbilt, and it was a speaker in the dugout, which when you're the home team, that's not a normal occurrence. You have your own home field advantage. You have your own music that you're playing through the speakers, through the stadium, and the only time that Tennessee has a speaker in their dugout is when they're on the road and you're the away team. The only other time that I've heard them have a speaker in the dugout was against Auburn in Game 3, and it was on early in Game 3 against Vanderbilt. And maybe that's one of the small ways that they're trying to keep the confidence high, because I can only imagine the frustration that they have to feel and the mental struggle that they might have when they're trying to maintain the belief that they're the better team or that they're just better than how they're playing, even when the results are indicative of the contrary. And I think maybe just having a speaker in their own dugout playing truly the music that they want to hear. And I see Vitello walking up and down the dugout when they head to the bottom of the inning, really trying to be encouraging to his team, I think might be one of the ways that they're trying to build that confidence, because I think confidence right now for this team is priority number one.
Right now, where I'm at is I'm responsible for guys playing and feeling confident. And so one of the reasons we either make some changes or stress out a little bit about guys' performances is not necessarily what they're capable of, or they made a huge mistake. I mean, they're going to make mistakes. It's playing with confidence.
And all of this goes back to the post-game report we had after game one. The team has got to find a way to complement what they're doing in game one and what Liam Doyle is giving them on the mound. It was very clear Tony Vitello had tons of frustration with the team's inability to capitalize on the momentum that they get with a game one win, or even some of the momentum that they get within a game in game 2 and 3.
We're all friends here. Saturday needs to be better. Day 2 needs to be better. I don't give a shit who's pitching or who's playing. Liam Doyle comes out, and the guy's a freaking warrior. And our guys take on that personality.
I will say, I think one of maybe the more frustrating factors of this team is their inability to win those closer games, to have proper situational hitting. And I can go back to last weekend, and it's game 2 against Auburn, and they end up getting like 17 hits, but only 4 runs are plated. And that's a game that didn't even need to go into extras and have to deal with a rain delay. If they could have just had better situational hitting. You saw it again in game 3. Of course, your back really is up against the wall in the bottom of the 9th inning, but there were times that you had 1 to 2 guys in scoring position. You're down 2 runs. You had 1 out, got a quick second out, and then, of course, Cannon Peoples a swinging strikeout to end the game. And there are so many times that they are close in these games and they are competitive in these games, but whether it's defensive self-inflicted errors and mistakes, or it's just not the right types of swings and mentality or approach at the plate that ends up creating wins that evade you. And Vitello will continue to say that he thinks they're just pressing too much.
Probably the pressing, the trying hard thing. I mean, that's a common theme in baseball in general, but overthinking or overcooking situations and trying a little too hard, because you got guys that are capable. And again, maybe we can do a better job of putting the right guy up there or the right position. But the try and the vibe and the energy is not the issue.
Again, the state flag guy who waves it in the porches after home runs. We will hear from him tomorrow ahead of the last regular season home game for Tennessee on Senior Day. So certainly make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that conversation.
It's important to make the right decisions, like when to go for it on 4th down, or when to kick the field goal or go for the touchdown. It's also important to make the right insurance decisions too. That's why my office, Trey McAdams State Farm, is here to help you select the right protection at the right price. Our office will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect when the unexpected happens. With Trey McAdams State Farm, it's easy to make the right call. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Proud sponsor of the Tennessee Vols.